and some of this is going to sound really alien to some people, and some of it may hit home. But I realize, like, a lot of the time I'm not interested. There's so much that they say that I'm not interested in. And that lack of recognition is a lack of charisma, because you're not making that person feel special. You're making that person feel unheard. Right, let's get the timer going. It's off and running. I just want you to know there's a video that I've uploaded to Ko-Fi, which is unlisted. The reason it's a little bit more difficult to get to is it's very personal, and I chickened out of releasing it as a video. Because it's like cracking open my head and just seeing all the crap that's inside. And it's a stream of consciousness. It's by no means the beginning or the end of anything. It's just, here's a bunch of stuff. Bleh. But you can listen to it like a podcast. You can just put it down, listen to it. I'm pretty chill throughout. If you want to do that, that's up to you. But today I was thinking maybe we should talk about imposter syndrome. Originally I was thinking about doing a sort of, here is what my rich life looked like and here is what my poor life looks like type of video. But I think it requires a little bit more thought before I jump into that. And maybe this video does too, to be perfectly honest. But uploading a video every single day, really what I'm trying to do is hit consistency. But it's hard for me it's really hard for me to put out a video every day. Not because it's like, it's not logistically hard. It's hard for me mentally because what I would really rather do is make a perfect video full of what I would consider to be valuable information, ordered in a specific order with a beginning, a middle, and an end, and a message, and a wonderful thumbnail and title and all that stuff. And when you push out a video every day, sometimes it's just like, it happens like in the middle of you doing other things, and it's just like, fuck bro, I've got to push out a video today. That's my one promise, is push out a video. So I've pushed out, I think, 32 videos plus some more which went on my Ko-Fi. And now I'm just trying to get, like, there's a few things I need to get sorted. So the YouTube partnership has kicked off again. There's two parts to the YouTube partnership, which is sort of weird. Never seen that before, but I have to set it up, right? So I have to set up things like memberships and perks and all that stuff. And then OBS. I need to set up OBS so that I can stick a little earphone in and watch whatever with you and react and talk about things. So for instance, some of my own stuff like skits, I really want to talk about skits because it's those are one of the few things I actually enjoy watching back. But they were quite, I remember my skits were quite, I don't want to say politically charged, like that's not the right wording, but like thematic, no. They were based on what was going on within the fighting game community, and more specifically, a lot of it had to do with Capcom and Street Fighter 5 and all that sort of stuff. So they weren't like, I never thought of them as like, oh my god, that's hilarious. I thought of them as like, oh yeah, that's true. Like, some of it was funny. I don't know. That's up to you. Like, that's none of my business whether you found them funny or not, as they say. But imposter syndrome is an interesting one. And also this idea of perhaps not always feeling like you're part of something. Not always. Sometimes it does feel like I'm there. But quite often it feels like I'm on the outskirts. I'm on the outside. And it's interesting. Like, I'll talk about this right now, actually, before we get into imposter syndrome, about this idea of feeling like I'm on the outside. And it's taken me, I don't know how many years to figure this out. Now, I read a few books years ago about charisma, which I found really interesting. They helped me at work. And then combined with my acting, I did acting classes because I really loved the process involved, the connection, the intimacy, everything about it just made me a better human being, made me feel like a better human being, made me feel like I had value, made me feel like I'd met my peers who were also vulnerable, who had problems. It was like going to the gym, but for your like exercising your intimacy muscle, your connection, your connection to other people, your vulnerability, your something, exercising something. Maybe it's your emotions, right? So you go to the gym to exercise your muscles, but maybe here you maybe in those classes I felt like I was exercising something different, and it was really freeing and amazing. But I did wonder, like, recently I was wondering, like, why do I sometimes feel like I'm on the edge? Like I'm not quite there in the middle or I'm not quite on the same page as everyone else, you know? And I realized and this has taken me nearly 50 years, I'm 49, but I realized it's because I'm not paying enough attention to what's important to the people around me, my friends. And some of this is going to sound really alien to some people, and some of it may hit home. But I realized, like, a lot of the time I'm not interested. There's so much that they say that I'm not interested in. And that lack of recognition is a lack of charisma, because you're not making that person feel special. You're making that person feel unheard. And who wants to be around someone who's not listening to them? And this is actually why when I was doing the interviews, I actually felt really good about doing interviews. It was because even though at first it was very hard, it was going through the motions. Later on, as I got more help and felt more confident, and everything else, I could focus more on like what people were saying and be more involved in what people were saying and really listening to what people were saying and all that stuff, and it felt good. It felt healthy. It felt therapeutic at times. My interviews towards the end were therapeutic at times. It looked like a therapy session sometimes, and I would get a lot more out of those people because my listening was probably more authentic. But one of the things I've realized about why I sometimes feel like I'm on the outside of the group and not on the inside is because I'm not paying attention to the details. And it's funny, there was a quote in The Last of Us season 1, which by the way is a good season. Season 2 is fucking garbage, but season 1 is good. I don't really care about whether well, anyway, that's another conversation. I think season 1's good. And it's one of those shows that I'll sometimes put on in the background, because I do that. I watch shows in the background while I'm doing other stuff, and I'll often watch them on repeat. But there's an episode, the third episode, which focuses on Frank and Bill and Frank. And Frank says, paying attention to details is how we show love. Paying attention to details is how we show love. And I thought about that for a while, and I didn't know what it meant at first. Because I've always been like a conceptual kind of guy. I'm not interested in the details. Like at work, I was never interested in the details. I wanted to hire people who were interested in the details, and then I wanted to step back and up and above and view everything with a sort of like a bird's eye view. So a feeling of, well, what's really going on here when you step away from the details. And I definitely have always prided myself in being able to do that. But the opposite is also an incredible thing, is paying attention to details. And paying attention to other people's details is really important. I think it's really important. And I know this sounds like an absolute revelation, but it's really weird because at this age, I have people who come to me, friends who come to me and have a revelation about something which I knew 30 years ago. And I'm probably having a revelation now that, you out there may have also had 30 years ago, or whatever, however old you are, or always knew, or maybe your parents taught you or something. I had a different type of, well, that's different. Talking about parenting and being a child and all that stuff, that's really Freudian, and we're not going to go there. Anyway, it's about 11 minutes now. I kind of wanted to talk about imposter syndrome, but we actually ended up talking about sort of being on the outskirts of social groups and why that is. And I genuinely think one of my biggest issues has been not paying attention to people, not listening to people, not being interested, And so I started to work on that. This revelation happened like a week or so ago. So I started to work on that. Started to work on it, and try to remember it each day. It's vague, isn't it? I'm talking about something vague without giving you like examples, and that's sort of on purpose because the examples are far too personal. In the sense that that they'd be too personal. Anyway, that's the end of this video. Thank you as always for tuning in. I need to get, like I said, the YouTube partner program set up, the monetization and memberships and OBS, and allow myself to be able to do the videos that I kind of want to do right now, because I'm sort of feeling like I'm ready now to move on to these other type of videos, and I'm not actually set up to do it, so I need to do it. Anyway, I hope you're having a wonderful day, and there's a bit of a heat wave going on here in the UK. It just started. Americans, you can laugh at it as much as you like, but I've been in your country. I lived there for 17 years, bro, and I'm telling you, you want to experience an English heat wave? Turn your AC off. Anyway, I'll catch you later.